Winston-Salem. Today's the day of my appointment for my hand. I'm going to be seeing a specialist today. First appointment will be an ultrasound where they'll look at the veins and do all that stuff to see about blockages and I guess just to see what's all in there.
Just hoping to get some answers today.
Yeah, and then I see the doctor. I was actually in High Point, just a little past Winston-Salem, but still close by. So that's where we're
still affiliated with Baptist Hospital.
Yeah, so that's where we're heading this morning. I know a lot of you guys have been asking and been praying, and I really appreciate that. So that's where we're headed now. We're actually going to make it an overnight stay.
Yeah, this is kind of going to be our sweetheart weekend since we have to be down here anyway. So if she does good at her doctor's appointment, might take her somewhere nice to eat tonight.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So your hand, you were told years ago that it might start bothering you as you got older.
I was, yeah. So when I was born, it was on my pinkies, what Mom said, and then it spread down to my whole hand.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was
that's what I was told, that it started here and then spread. But it's never spread any further, and they've always bulged everywhere. I told when I was pregnant I could have issues. Thankfully, I had none. And then as I got older, I could start having some issues, which started last December. Some really major pain. I mean, I'd have a pain here and there, but nothing that was excruciating like I had. So they do believe it was clots. Been on blood thinner. The main bump is still kind of hard. The other smaller ones I can't really feel as much. So hopefully that has helped. But yeah, we're just going to go, and hopefully this is a specialist who can give me some answers and say either this is something you're going to live with and this is how we're going to live with it. Really don't want to have surgery or anything like that. Hopefully it's just something that they'll just tell us.
When we were first married and you were going to this doctor down in Winston-Salem before that, at that time he said there was no surgery that could correct this, and basically you could lose fingers or your hand.
So I was 14 when I saw the doctor in Baptist Hospital, and he was actually a child's plastic surgeon, and he, I guess, specialized in veins. That's how I ended up there. And I had an arteriogram where they put dye into your blood and then it shows up on an x-ray film. And I remember him showing me that, and in the center of my hand it just looked like a knot of yarn, just it was white, whereas normally you have little lines for your bloodstream. I had knots, just tangled. And he had said, if we were to go in there and try to remove some of that, he said you could lose fingers, possibly your hand, So I just thought, okay, this is just something I'm going to live with. Just be careful, because he always said if you cut it deep enough, you're going to bleed terribly,
And if she didn't get medical attention at time, you could bleed out.
Yeah, because there's that many and it's that hard. Going to the doctors, I've been just to a regular doctor, been to the hospital, had an ultrasound when I was having major pain. They were like totally amazed at it, because they'd never seen anything.
That's back home.
And then I went to Hickory to a vascular specialist, but she does more varicose veins. So I had to get a referral to her. She's like, I don't handle stuff like this, but they had an in-house ultrasound for veins, and they did it, and they were like so fascinated with it. And they said basically where your where your veins take blood from your heart into your body, then you have your capillaries, which slow the blood down into your arteries and goes back. Or else I might have that backwards, I don't remember. Arteries are away, veins too, I think. Anyway, I don't have as many capillaries, and I have a surplus of veins. So when you see the ultrasound and listen to it, it's like super strong. So they were just amazed at that.
But we were actually hoping to get referred down here.
We were. So she said, I'm going to refer you down there. So I got my appointment, and just kind of anxious to see.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, when I Google this, they call it atrial venal malformation, AVM. So many people have it so much worse than if that's indeed what I have.
And we don't know that.
No, I don't know
some of the similarities, but the thing that scares me or worries me a little is that when you used to come down to the doctor here, he said he was one of only 2 people in the country with expertise in this situation. And you say a lot of people have it. I've never met anybody else that has it.
No.
So I'm not sure that you don't have something else.
And it may be something else, but when you see AVMs, a lot of times it's on the brain. And I saw another doctor, not for this, and she was telling me that her sister-in-law had an AVM, in her brain. She was in her 50s. She had to have a couple of brain surgeries to remove all those veins. Doing great now. And someone else posted, I think, on our Facebook, her husband had it. I think he was in his 30s or 40s, and he's doing great now. So, but thankfully, as far as I know, I don't have it on my brain. That is going to be a question I'm going to ask today. And, you know, is this something I could have somewhere else and not know about? Did you make a face?
No, I'm just happy to be alive. Anyway, so what I was going to say is the doctor told her that he was one of only 2 people in the country that really knew about this situation. Well, he has since retired. So I was actually hoping that maybe they filled somebody in his shoes, or maybe that he had mentored or something. That's why we wanted to come back to Winston-Salem.
Yeah.
And when we were looking at doctors, there's actually a female doctor with his same last name. So we think maybe that's his daughter, which I was kind of very glad. I hope maybe I don't know who you're going to
I'm not seeing her. I am seeing a Dr. Chang, I believe. My nurse advocate recommended him. I don't know who my nurse advocate is.
As long as they know what they're doing. I like our chances down here.
Yeah, and I think too, surely if one doesn't know, they can put their heads together. You know, thankfully I'm not having, every once in a while I'll get a pain, but nothing like I was.
I remember the night we went to Gatlinburg before Christmas. It was, you were in excruciating pain.
Yeah, it was hurting
for
so
days
bad.
After that even.
That day, because I had to work that day, I was in tears at work, and I told my supervisor, I'm like, I'm going to have to go to the doctor. I'm going to have to see what I can do. And so that's when I went for the first ultrasound and so forth, because Derek's like, yeah, he said, we don't even need to go to Gatlinburg. If you need to do this or that, we'll do that. But, you know, since I was able to go to the doctor, and, you know, they gave me some pain relievers and told me to take aspirin as a blood thinner. But the referral to Hickory specialist gave me the blood thinners. And now I'm going to Winston. So
Hopefully, we said all that to say this. We're going to be bringing you more. I don't know. You actually, let me say this. This ain't me. You're wanting me to record the ultrasound.
Yes. Now, I said
if they
if
allow
it's allowed, I told him it would be very interesting because
that's something you asked me to do.
Yeah, because I mean it's just going to be the screen, you know, that they were doing my hand and stuff. Because I remember when I was the first ultrasound I had, I was asking her all sorts of questions, and she was answering and being very nice and very informative. And then when I had it done the second time, you know, they actually had another nurse came there and she was just watching, and she's like, "This is just fascinating." And to me, it is kind of neat seeing your veins and stuff like that on a screen and listening to it.
Yeah, but I want answers, not to fascinate
I
everybody.
know, but you know,
I want you to have
got it,
belief.
you know.
Yeah. We don't know if there's a surgery now. I don't know why there would be now if there wasn't then, or I don't know. We're just hoping that maybe something's come up in the last 30 years.
I mean, if it stays like it is and not hurting me, fine. I've lived with it for 47 years. I can live with it. But I just don't want the pain or more blood clots or anything worse to happen. So that's where we're at.
That's where we're at. So more updates to come. All right, so we also wanted to talk about our weekend. I kind of joked with her a minute ago and said that if she did good at her appointment, that I'd take her somewhere nice to eat. In fact, we already know where we're going to be eating. We're going to be eating at what was the Cowboy Brazilian Steakhouse in downtown Winston-Salem. We learned as of, a week ago, just within literally the last week, it has changed names to, I think, Lasso Churrasca, something like that, or Lasso Brasilia. I have to look it up because it was literally like within the last week. So we're going to be staying, something we've never done. I've been to Winston-Salem growing up as a kid. My dad used to make deliveries from Hickory down to Burlington, and we would always pass through Winston, would always eat at the K&W cafeteria on Knollwood exit. That one's no more, it burned up, but been wanting to get back to a K&W for a long time, so that's not where we're going tonight. It's where we're going to do lunch tomorrow. Tonight we're going to go to the Brazilian Steakhouse, so we just decided to go ahead and get a motel in downtown Winston-Salem. That's walking distance from the Brazilian Steakhouse. So we're going to be staying tonight. It's an IFH hotel. I don't know if we've ever stayed in an IFH hotel.
I don't know.
We normally go with Wyndham or Choice. We've booked tonight at the Hotel Indigo in downtown Winston-Salem. So we're almost there. We're actually going to be coming into Winston-Salem now. We will show you that as soon as we can see the city. It's the 5th largest city in North Carolina. Not huge, but it has a couple of nice buildings in it. So
There And we're going to be staying right amongst them.
We're going to be staying right amongst them for the first time. I've never actually spent the night in Winston-Salem that I can think of, that I remember. Well, we did one night. We went to Tanglewood. That was outside of Winston-Salem.
Oh, yeah.
But outside of that, I don't think I've ever actually stayed in Winston-Salem. I've been through it 300 times in my life, but this will be something different. So we just decided to go ahead and make a sweetheart weekend of it.
We did. Valentine's next Wednesday. So.
Yeah. So rather than trying, that's church night for us. So this is going to be it for us. So stay tuned. Separate review coming. Okay, so this is the exit I was mentioning a minute ago, Knollwood Street. This is where my childhood memories of going to K&W. If you see those newer buildings to the right, that's actually looks like Krispy Kreme donuts.
They are actually originated, did you know, from Winston-Salem?
No, I thought it was Charlotte. That's
Salem. We are going by there tomorrow.
So I just learned something. I thought it was Charlotte.
Nope.
So I guess that's maybe corporate office there, but that's where the K&W used to sit. And there was like a motel above it. I probably ate at that K&W, oh goodness, I couldn't even begin to count how many times. So I always think about that when I go through here, because that's just a memory of my childhood. My dad used to deliver probably once a week, I'm going to guess, down to Burlington and pick up. He was in the textile industry, so actually still does. He still messes with it a little bit.
Kind of piddles in it for something to do.
Yeah, at 80 years old, does not even have to do anything, but he still messes with it. So, but anyway, it's still making the deliveries. But
and there's Baptist Hospital.
Baptist Hospital. This is one of the premier medical institutions in the state.
I remember going there a lot when I was a child for one of my younger brothers. He had nephrotic syndrome and spent a lot of time there. I was in 5th, 6th grade, and I remember coming down here and visiting him several times.
And we probably need to put the motel address in at this point. Like use my phone to do that. It just hit me. We're coming into Winston-Salem. We don't know exactly where we're going. So, yeah. When I actually was battling cancer in 1998, I knew I was going to have a stem cell transplant. I was kind of torn between Baptist Hospital right there and Duke University. I ultimately went with Duke because they had an outpatient program where I could go back to a hotel at night, and the hotel was walking distance just through the parking lot to the clinic. So that was why I ultimately decided on Duke, but I think Baptist would have been a great option as well. But we're getting ready to exit off here. We're coming into Winston. I'm not sure actually which exit we need to be taking. I'm going to stay on it one more time till you get the address punched in there. But
yeah, just waiting for it to load up here.
That rounded top building you see now is now the tallest skyscraper in Winston. It's the Wells Fargo building. It did not used to be. That one to the left of it that says Trilliant on it, that's actually changed. That was Winston Tower last time I was here. Is this my exit?
Yes.
Okay. And then that used to be the Wachovia building, the old Wachovia. So we're going to be going into Winston now. Pardon the GPS. I'm not a fan of GPSs. I've always been able to find my way where I'm going, but since I'm going to a motel I've never been before. So anyway, we're in Winston-Salem.
Continue straight to stay on June.
But that was the Winston Tower last time I was here, and now it's called Trilliant. But the place has gone through a lot of changes since I've been here, but don't know anything about this motel. I've never stayed in a Hotel Indigo before. Is it a hotel or motel? Hotel. I honestly don't know if I've ever actually driven downtown Winston or not.
I don't think I ever have.
I know we've driven by it hundreds and hundreds of times, but so the one thing I don't like about this motel, and I will do a separate review on it, is that they do not have free parking. If you want to park free, you got to park along the street after 5. They don't
have a parking lot.
They don't have a parking lot. You have to park in a garage, which is $14 a night, or they give you valet parking,
which is $25.
Which I am not paying anybody to park my vehicle. It's just, I'm not going to do that. So anyway, we're going to cut this off so we can figure out where we're at.
So my doctor's office is actually in High Point, North Carolina, and I did find online before we came this way that this is supposed to be the world's largest chest of drawers. So I don't remember how tall they said it was, but Anyway, so here it is. So as you can see, it says it's the furniture capital of the world, High Point, North Carolina. So Derek and I were just talking. Lenore, North Carolina, close to where we live, had a lot of furniture manufacturing back in the day. There's still some, but not as much. They had Broyhill, which is big in our area, Kincaid, Bernhardt, and back in the day when you used to watch like Price is Right, they used to give away furniture. You know, that was made from those companies close to where we live. So North Carolina is known for making furniture. So anyway, this was just a little roadside attraction thing that I saw that was close to my doctor's office, and I thought it was pretty neat that we needed to stop and see this. So here you go.
Okay, so we're here in High Point now. There's the hospital to the left of the screen. Really big looking hospital.
Yeah, we just got to find exactly.
So we are here at the appointment. Yeah, we're looking for the Heart and Vascular Center.
Yeah, Suite 401. So it's somewhere in this.
Yeah, so
big
we're gonna
building.
drive around until we find it.
But we're early.
Yeah, we're way early. It's about 12:05 now. Your appointment's at 1:30.
Yeah.
So, but you never know. Maybe they'll be able to see you quicker.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Okay, so we think we found it. And again, this is affiliated with Wake Forest Baptist University Hospital in Winston, so which is an absolutely huge hospital. So, are you nervous? How you feeling?
Kind of nervous, but just ready.
Also excited, hopefully, to get some answers.
Yeah, definitely want some answers. Oh, there it is. The sign for it. I guess we.
Congdon Heart and Vascular Center.
Okay, so we're here in the waiting room, checked in.
Sorry we're having to talk so quiet. They came over here 3 times, so I was to shut up. Or now they have.
So anyway, we're just waiting. So we got here about an hour early.
About an hour early.
Some
so
already
we're
checked
hoping
in. Yeah.
that you get back sooner.
Yeah. So first thing's going to be the ultrasound. However they do that. So anyway, we're waiting, hoping for a early check-in, or not check-in. What am I trying to say? They'll see us early.
Yeah, an early visit. So.
Yeah. But anyway, didn't have no trouble getting here or anything like that. It's a bigger place than what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
But it looks
Yeah,
nice.
the hospital here is quite impressive.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, so we'll be back.
Okay, just finishing up at Shawnasi's appointment. We had said at the beginning that we were going to try to record the ultrasound at her request, but couldn't do that.
Couldn't do it. The lady wouldn't even let him go back with me during my test. She said it's HIPAA privacy laws. So anyway,
I did get to go back when we talked to the doctor.
Definitely. So anyway, so during the ultrasound, she was nice. I was talking apparently too much, and finally she just said, "I need you to be still." So, but it is pretty interesting watching your veins and the flow.
I'd like to have been back in there just to have heard that.
Yeah, I got quiet and laid still as I could. I mean, she was nice, and I know she was just doing her job, and she says, I can't tell you anything. But I mean, she did at the end explain to me about the size of my vein. She said my arteries are the size of what would be in your thighs. And we'll say a little bit more about what the doctor said, too.
You said that was 4 times the size of what they should be.
That's what the doctor said.
Oh.
So he said 4 times. She had told me the size of the arteries in your thighs. So anyway, fast forward to visiting the doctor. So he was able to go in there,
Dr. Chang.
Which is always very helpful to have someone else to listen, to ask questions you may not think of. So anyway, so we were both in there. He came in very polite, very knowledgeable. He has seen this numerous times, apparently.
Which was a relief.
Yes. He said people get them in their elbows, their knees, their legs, so, different places. So I'm glad I'm not like a very rare case like I had always thought I was, but thankfully he had seen it. He has said that basically the size of my 2 arteries going down were 4 times larger than would it be on anybody else, like even probably my right arm. They didn't check my right arm, but it's normal. and it's got very high pressurized flow, and that goes up into basically a tangled up mess right here. And he said that, if it was something that bothered me all the time, and it was getting where I couldn't function, couldn't bend, couldn't do things with my hands, he said, but watching you, he says, you're fine. He recommended, and I don't know if he ever gave a name for the procedure or not.
Oh, not the procedure. I was going to say the condition. What was it? AEM?
AVM. Arterial venial malformation.
Malformation.
But basically the procedure, what they would do, he said, we would put you to sleep, do an arteriogram, which is basically where they look at, put dye into your veins and look at it. And then he said he would shoot stuff into my veins that would cause them to burn and clog
a type
off.
of bleach, like a medical type of bleach.
Or something. And it sounded like it'd be excruciating pain for a week or two afterwards, because it's basically burning off points. And he said, you might have to do it once, you might have to do it numerous times, it would just depend. And that is not something I'm going to do, because I don't feel like I need to do that. I had some very harsh times back in December with it hurting. Thankfully I'm not there. He did take me off the blood thinners. He said no need for that. So
they put you on those, honestly, back home, because they didn't know what else to do.
No.
They were trying, I want to not forget this part, they were trying to get rid of the clots, but what he said was the clotting is actually a good thing.
Yeah, because it's slowing the pressurized blood that's flowing so fast and so hard.
Because when we hear blood clots are forming, we're thinking something's going to go to the heart. He says it's not like that. Nothing life-threatening here, which that was one of the answers. Did we get answers? Yes and no.
Yeah.
We got that answer, that it's nothing life-threatening. You're not going to lose your arm or your hand. So as long as you can live with it the way it is, that's basically where we're at.
Yeah, and I have been 47 years. Like I said, back in December, it all of a sudden got real hard in a certain area, and then a couple little other areas. But he said that a lot of times changes in the weather, when it gets colder, it could happen. I mean, December was cold, but I've been in colder temperatures than that.
Yeah.
But he just says, warm compresses, anti-inflammatory medicines, ibuprofen, just basically do stuff like that. So it's very manageable, very livable with, and just be careful not to cut myself.
But did I hear him say that, that's another thing. Did I hear him say that it's probably as bad as it's ever going to get?
Yes, I have, since I'm not, still forming, still growing or anything like that.
I guess
when
you saw the doctor years ago, that was still the case, because he said it would get worse.
Yeah, I was 14.
Well, I didn't know you then. I mean, even when I came down after we were married.
But basically, my body has fully formed, because, my left arm is probably, 2.5 inches longer than my right arm. My hands, if I put them together, you can kind of see the difference. My left hand is bigger, and lengthwise it's longer. But he says, it is what it is now. So
that's why I only let her hit me with the right hand.
It's not as strong.
Right.
But, I'm relieved, to actually know for sure the name, that it is diagnosed with what it is, and it's something that I can live with, just,
Yeah, I think maybe part of me in the back of my mind was hoping that in the last 30 years, because it's been probably that long, almost that long since we last saw the plastic surgeon down here in Winston-Salem. I guess I was hoping that maybe some procedure had been developed, and it's pretty much the same as it's always been. She can't have surgery, or she could lose it.
Well, but basically, he said if I was having more reoccurring issues with it, pain, losing, loss of usage, we would definitely look into it. And some people get that point. Thankfully, I have not.
Into surgery?
To what he was talking about, shooting the stuff into there.
Yeah, the bleach.
Yeah, I mean, they probably don't cut your hand open at any point just for risk of bleeding.
But the big thing is she can never have a deep gash or cut. And I think that's what, because the doctor years ago kind of scared me. He said that if you were to cut this deeply, you could bleed out. You would need to get here. And I'm thinking, we're an hour and a half from Winston-Salem. So I'm thinking, is there nobody back home that could stop the bleeding? And he said that's what they would do, get her to the ER there if it ever happened. Thank God it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And they would just concentrate on stop the bleeding. Then they would make calls. Okay, what do we do?
Yeah, because if they didn't know how else to do it, they would have to do what they needed to stop the bleeding, and then figure out if I needed to go somewhere else.
And thankfully that's never happened.
No, and I've been told how bad I would bleed since I was a kid, so I'm always super careful.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So So I guess we got the main answer is that you're not going to lose your hand over it. The other answer is, there's not really anything can be done except that procedure that he didn't recommend unless you were just suffering so badly you couldn't function.
Yeah.
And you were there in December. You were having to type with one hand.
I was hurting so bad in December that they had told me we got to remove part of your hand right now. That's the only thing we can do to stop your pain. I'd have been like, let's do it now.
I would have been like, let's rethink this a little bit.
But I mean, when you're in pain,
I understand.
Thankfully I'm not there. Like, I'll have a pain every now and then, and after that ultrasound, all of my veins where she was rubbing that thing and pushing was hurting. It's getting a little bit better now. I guess just time, but yeah, that was hurting. But,
so, I guess we're kind of where we were.
yeah, so it's just something I guess I'm going to live with. So, I mean, I appreciate everyone who has prayed for me, has reached out to me and told me that they were praying for me, and
Yeah, and just please pray she doesn't ever have another episode like December.
Yeah.
I actually thought we're not going to be able to go to Gatlinburg, and that's okay. There's
we'd have done what
always Gatlinburg trips.
Yeah.
Let's get this taken care of. But then you kind of insisted on going.
Because after I'd been to the doctor and there was nothing that they could do besides just saying, hey, we see some minor clotting in there, take some aspirin, here's some pain medicine, which got me through it, and it got better, towards the end of the week, if I remember right. I was still kind of hurting, but like I said, it's been well over maybe close to a month and a half. I said, what is today? Yeah, almost a month and a half, 2 months. So I'm thankful that it's getting better.
So I guess that's it.
Yeah.
So you close us out.
All right. Thanks again, guys. I really do appreciate all the prayers, all the concern. So thankfully we got pretty good news. Like I said, it's just something that I can live with, and I will live with. So you guys, please hit that like button for us, share the videos,